If Hezbollah goes to war with Israel, it will make the mistake of its life. We will cripple it with a force it cannot even imagine, and the consequences for it and the Lebanese state will be devastating.
That's Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, of course, warning Hezbollah against opening a possible second front in the north. That is, Iran and the IDF, well, the IDF has evacuated communities in the face of the Hezbollah and Iranian threat. And fears are growing that there could be a second conflict up north. Let's bring in retired U.S. Navy captain and Fox News military analyst, Chuck Nash. You know, Captain, Israel has gone into Lebanon in the past. That was a major operation. What do you foresee and what do you see happening and predict over the next few weeks when it comes to Hezbollah in the north?
Well, it's difficult to predict what's going on right now because things are such in a hyperbolic state. Israel says they're going to initiate a major ground movement into Gaza. I believe that's probably going to happen. Whether Hezbollah decides to get involved or not, that's up in the air because the one thing about deterrence is convincing your enemy that if you act, that the enemy will be totally destroyed. It's going to fail and they're going to be totally destroyed. And to get there, you have to have a credible force. You have to make the enemy believe that you will use that force, and you need consistent messaging. The Israelis are doing all of that. If they were to have a two-front war, that would be bad. If during that two-front war there were major uprisings in the West Bank, that would be disastrous. And the Israelis, as is pretty much widely known, they have nuclear weapons. They're not going to go down without taking a lot of people with them. So the deterrence is going to work against Iran because Iran knows that they could get wiped out too. So I think the Iranians are, in the end, going to put pressure against Hezbollah to not get involved, not widen this thing anymore. As far as all of the force structure that the United States has put into the Mediterranean, and it's still building, when this is all over, Eric, we're probably going to have 15 ships and 3 submarines cruising around in the Eastern Atlantic. Now, or the Eastern Mediterranean, sorry. That sounds like a credible force, but the Iranians, they're missing our consistent messaging. We've been lifting oil sanctions. Right after this administration took power, they restored funding to the Palestinians. So our messaging's been off. Do we have a credible force? Yes. Do they believe that we would use it? Don't know. I think Senator Ricketts on Fox just a little bit ago was spot on with his analysis that he thinks the deterrence is down, and we've thrown all this stuff against it in a desperate attempt to try to claw back that deterrence that we've wasted away over the last couple of years.
Let's go back for a moment to what you referred to in terms of Israel's nuclear capability. Yep. That is the final line. Do you believe actually that that could be a potential, or at least that Tehran knows that and that they will stop at some point and go up to a line, but try to avoid this conflict from going nuclear?
Absolutely. The Israelis have deployed their submarines. They've got cruise missiles. They've got nuclear warheads. If the Iranians are dumb enough to try to do that, now they may all want to go down in a ball of fire, but I don't think so. They're smarter than that. I think the Israelis right now are the ones with the true deterrent capability and the true deterrent effect. We are there as a sideshow, like I said, trying to desperately claw it back. Now, we can be helping Israel, and we undoubtedly are, with intelligence, communications intercepts. The aircraft carrier battle groups bring a plethora of capabilities with them. It's not just missile tubes and aircraft and missiles. No. It's intelligence gathering, it's electronic intelligence, signals intelligence, plus with carrier battle groups stationed there, you can bet that there are other theater airborne assets and maybe even some national assets that are adding to that intelligence collection capability, and we are undoubtedly sharing most of it with the Israelis.
What happens if the U.S. uses some of that firepower? Let me play you a soundbite from Senator Lindsey Graham. He's in Tel Aviv, and a bipartisan group of senators who are there, and he raised the possibility of bombing Iran's oil fields to, as he says, put them out of their oil business if indeed they start a two-front war, they start a war by Hezbollah. Here's Senator Graham.
If this war grows, it's coming to your backyard. There won't be two fronts, there'll be three. If there's an effort to unleash Hezbollah on the Jewish state to destroy it, my attention will be to Tehran. If these innocent hostages get slaughtered, I hold you, Iran, accountable because you could stop it if you chose to. The idea that this happened without Iranian involvement is laughable.
Is that consistent messaging that Tehran hears, backed up by the threat of U.S. military force?
With all due respect to Senator Graham, he has no executive authority. He is one of 50 senators on Capitol Hill. The commander-in-chief has the authority to use the U.S. military. Now, Congress has the authority to declare war, which they haven't done since World War II. Everything since then has been through executive action. So, no, he can talk a big game, but it's all going to come down to, do the Iranians, do the other players, the Chinese and Taiwan, the Russians with Ukraine, do they believe that President Joe Biden is in charge of this, and have they taken the measure of him that he would actually use the force, or is it all talk? So that's the game we're playing right now, Eric, and it's not a comfortable one.
Wow, we'll see how Tehran responds. Captain Chuck Nash, always good to have you. Thank you.
Nice to be with you, Eric.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.